Hey, Nick.
I am prepared today. Hello, Warwick. Hello,
Wow, you're
listeners.
just like super pro today because I was waiting for you to go, oh, and that's become a real sign to me that you're ready to not be ready or you're not ready to be ready.
Well, I'm trotting out one that we tried to roll out yesterday, but we had some internet issues, and so we
Oh my
had to
gosh.
can our podcast recording, and we'll re-record it this afternoon. So I have it here on my screen. I'm prepared. It is a listener joke. Thank you to the listener that sent this in for me. Warwick has already heard it, so I want to prepare you all for the fact he's not going to laugh.
See if the second delivery is better than the first.
All right, I was at a bar on the weekend, and a bear walked into the bar and says, "Give me a whiskey and cola." Bartender says to him, "Why the big pause?" And the bear says, "I'm not really sure. I was just born with them."
Welcome to the Tradies in Business podcast with your hosts Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Divert your phone and grab a brew as Waz and Nick unpack tips, tales, secrets and stuff-ups from guests both inside and outside your trade, helping educate and inspire you to break the cycle of gut-busting and money stress and create a true trade business.
Was that an authentic laugh?
Not really.
Your delivery was on point that time
Thank
round.
you. Well, it
First
helps if
time
I've
round.
pre-read it.
Yeah. The first time you read it, I was like, what is wrong with Nicole today?
Well, I did do an exaggerated face at the time because I didn't want you to jump in at the pause thinking that you needed to say, where is this going, or something similar. So yes, today I didn't need to do that.
Definitely something that I do is jump in and take over.
Nice segue.
Thanks. That was an authentic laugh, Nicole.
It was.
Hey, gang, we are here to talk to you about it's a different way of thinking, Coxie. And so, Nick, you and I, we need to actually do some investigative journalism or reporting or something and figure out exactly when we actually started in business together.
Yeah, we really do.
I'll go back to our business registration and stuff and find out. It's either 5 or 5.5 years or 6 or something. It feels like 20.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've forgotten what I was going to say. So this is a typical Woz story. I'm going to meander all over the place.
No, you're going to run close to the story we were talking about yesterday, where we used to do everything in the beginning.
Yeah. And getting rid of, I guess getting rid of the stuff, all of the little things that are actually big things in your business. So for you listening to this, it's the quoting, it's the paperwork, it's the invoicing, it's email management, calendar management. It ends up being a lot of stuff, and I get bombarded on social media with the ads, the sponsored posts from all of the other trade business coaches out there, and just general business people, business coaches and mentors and stuff. And because obviously I'm in the demographic and I accidentally clicked on someone's ad 3 years ago and now I just can't get rid of the damn things. And I see all of these ads talking about the stuff that people are struggling with. And I think, wow, if they're still advertising about that, then people are still struggling with it.
Absolutely.
And you and I did, and we share a story about me not letting go of the podcast editing. It took me years to let go of it because my fear was no one would do it as good as me, and it was too hard to explain to somebody else, and it wouldn't get done right, or I'd end up having to fix it anyway, and it wouldn't sound as good for our listeners. And, I'm going to lift up my skirt here and show people what's underneath a little bit.
That's a great image. Thanks.
Because the podcast you listen to, I do not edit anymore. And that's been the case for a long time now. Many, many, many episodes. And so far, nobody sent us a message to say, hey, what's going on with the editing, gang?
Not one message.
In fact, it's probably better than when I used to do it. And it saves me a fair bit of time, and not even the time, it's the headspace, Nick.
Yeah. I think that's the big thing. I think that's the point that you're drawing to here. It's about that headspace shift. And to be fair, I think we spoke about this yesterday, I think with a client, in a session about those higher value tasks. We talked about those a lot on the world tour too, actually, last year. It can be really hard to get your head around what's going to bring your business value. And so we tend to get very stuck on tasks we think that only we can do, or the stuff that we don't have that headspace shift to explain to somebody else to do. We tend to get stuck in those rather than handing them off. We were talking off air about a practical example for a tradie. You came up with a cracking idea of referring them back to, okay, think about an apprentice and the task the apprentice is responsible for. You have an apprentice because you're the business owner, and you don't want to get dragged back to bringing the tools in or packing up the ute at the end of the day. And you don't want to be doing the dump run or sweeping up after you've been doing the work, because they're low value tasks. You're not making money while you're doing those tasks. And instead, what you'd like to be able to continue to do is focus on the things that make you money. What we don't see very often is that shift come from tradespeople or trades business owners, full stop, because this happens for both partners in the trade business generally, that shift from, okay, what am I currently doing? What is a low value task that I could let go of? And how can I focus on the decisions and the tasks that actually can generate good wealth and profit for our company?
And when we say low value, Nick, I think that's where, and you and I had a great chat about before we went to air with this podcast, or pressed record anyway. I talk like we're on radio, but my dream's not coming true yet.
Not yet. It will.
Although we actually, this is going to sound really something or other, like a wanker. We get a few comments from guests who have been interviewed on radio and stuff, say to us, you guys would be great on radio. And we're like, we know, right? Get us a gig. Anywho, when we say low value, we don't mean that those tasks are not important.
No.
I think the distinction could be, listeners, that they're lower value than other things you could be spending time on or investing time on. And so all those examples of like sweeping up, taking rubbish to the tip, they're important. They have to be done as part of a project, just not by you.
No.
Because if you're tied up doing those things, if you're using some of your 50 or 60 hours in the week that you're probably working, doing sweeping up and tip runs, then that's time that you're not able to spend keeping clients in the loop on their projects so they don't get shitty with you because they haven't heard from you for 10 days and they haven't seen anybody on site. You could have sent an email out to all of your clients and said, hey, just letting you know, things are ticking along nicely. We should be back on site next week to do X, Y, Z. And these are the things that you end up saying, I just don't have time for that. I'm too busy for that stuff. And honestly, it's one of the things that leads to our clients dropping off our Tradiepreneur program is they end up believing the excuse that they're too busy. They're too busy to develop their sales process, so they screen out the time-wasting quote requests. They're too busy to do one-on-ones and performance reviews with their team, and so they keep getting the same shitty performance from their staff members. They're too busy to back cost their jobs and work out if they're actually making any money or not. And so the symptoms of that is you end up just continually being too busy and therefore just working your ass off and not really getting anywhere.
It almost becomes a badge of honor. I'm too busy. How are you? Busy. We say it by default. We're not really thinking about what we're putting out there. And so we get stuck in this vicious circle. And it really is like being on a roundabout. There's lots of exits around you. There's lots of opportunity for you to outsource, to let go of, to do the apprentice thing within the administration side of your business even. There's lots of opportunity for you to take one of those exits. And unfortunately, we feel so overwhelmed. We feel so stuck on that roundabout. We feel like we don't know how, we don't know where, or we don't know what to do. And so we just remain stuck. And that's a big factor in leading to burnout, to frustration, to that stress because I don't know what my cash flow looks like. I don't have time to go and work on that. One of the most critical jobs that you can do as a business owner. And many of you don't make the time to do so because you're too busy and you're stuck in that cycle. So what?
Some of you might be listening to this going, so what? So yeah, you've just described a whole bunch of my problems and now I feel worse. So what, wasn't Nick?
Here comes
Well.
the great white horse with our shiny suits of armour.
The flowing robes and the long locks. I used to have
I
long
would
locks
like-
once.
Oh, yes, we've had that discussion. You even showed me a photo and I still find it hard to believe.
That was me. Wasn't photoshopped.
No.
If you're wondering what the hell just happened to your audio, we're just dropping in here super quick to let you know that obviously we do a ton of free content. You're listening to the podcast. We're all about helping trade business owners. We have free stuff on our website as well. And just in case you don't know, we are the founders of Tradies in Business and the Tradiepreneur program. And we have a bunch of ways that we can actually help you in your trade business, whether that is the fact that you're drowning in paperwork, whether you want to 10x your business or something like that. Maybe you just want to take a holiday with the family or stop being so stressed. Maybe get some sleep at night. I don't know. Any of those things. If you are wanting some sort of change in your trade business, then we've got a range of things that we can offer you. Best place to find out about those is the website.
Mm-hmm. www.tradiesandbusiness.com.au. And
like the ball girl or something.
I know, I feel like, anyway, more importantly, I think that it's time that you have the opportunity to hear some of our clients tell you how they have found their opportunity to work with Tradies in Business.
Before we joined the Tradiepreneur community, we knew we had lots of things we should be doing, but we didn't really know what they were.
We were completely overwhelmed with running our business.
Since we started with Nick and Waz, we've been able to implement some strategies that have helped us achieve more than 15% turnover. We've seen a net increase of up to 20-25% per month in net profit. Traders in Business have assisted us with having directions and goals.
And that we can actually achieve anything we set our minds to. We just needed a coach in our corner to tell us that it's all possible.
So I think, Nick, one of the hard things for trade business owners, and for those of you listening, I think a lot of people go for the big stuff. They think, well, I've got to make big changes if I want big changes to my results. And the opposite is actually true in business especially, and it is across most of our lives, and I'll spare you all the human psychology stuff. Attacking the small things can actually lead to big changes and big results. Mm-hmm. But it's often difficult to figure out, well, what small things? What are these low-value things I can get rid of, and how the heck do I do that? What, I got to go employ another person? Do I have to pay $80 an hour to a bookkeeper or a casual admin person or something, like a contract person? And that's certainly some of the options available. And what Nick and I have been, exploding our brains over for the last few years, and we're finally about to bring this to market, which is what we want to share with you listeners, is a simpler way to offload some of those smaller things that's going to lead to some bigger changes.
Okay, we need to insert some, life-saving trumpets here. Roll out the Royal Gala to let you know that we are releasing a new service here at Tradies in Business called the Tradies in Business Admin Services. Da, 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 da. Hopefully our VA finds that and can put in real trumpets for you. We've been talking about this for years, and this stemmed from early conversations, Warwick, that you and I had many, many, many years ago, back when you were working with the builder, and in fact, where you would work with him and present him with a bunch of stuff that he needed to run away and do, and he'd scratch his head and he'd sit there and say, I just don't have time. I just don't have time. I don't know how to do it. Where do I start? What do I do from here? And so that's where we came to, okay, do we need to be working? And one of the first conversations we had was, do we need to have a done for you service? We'll come in and do some of this stuff for you. And we came to, no, it needs to be a headspace shift first, which is very much what we're doing here with coaching. Coaching is very much about helping you focus in on what's important and then help you create that headspace shift so that you can delegate, which is a big part of being a business owner, to the appropriate people to get those tasks done. And so we've come back round in the circle, and I think we're ready. So we've been able to spend some time with some team, getting them trained up. So trade business coach backed, trained. Man, that's a mouthful. I'm not going to say those 3 times fast. We've spent a lot of time with our new team members who are ready here and now to support you. Furthermore, we've actually trialed this for a good 60 days with a bunch of clients and some non-clients to get their feedback so we can refine some of the processes for you to make this as simple as possible, because we understand as business owners, if you are very stuck on that roundabout, it can be very challenging to know how to delegate those tasks. Who do you delegate them to? At what point? And what does that look like? How do I share my passwords? Do I give them access to this? Do I create something entirely new for a login so they can get in and do what needs to be done? We've taken care of a lot of that for you so that you are able to give this service a go really simply. We've also done a lot of work around the structure of which. There's a couple different structures. I won't go into too much detail because you can jump on the website and find out all the information that you require. You can even book a call with us so that we can talk you through what's going to be the best option for you. What we've created, though, is a casual option and a permanent or part-time option. So there are two different pricing structures. On the casual option, you can just buy blocks of hours and utilize them as you please over a 60-day period. And on the permanent option, you can have a team member join your team for set hours every single week. So there's two great options you can try before you commit. So you have the opportunity to use the casual hours just to test it out and see if the process works for you. And then you can commit to your part-time or permanent person should you wish. So we've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of long conversations around trying to figure out how to make this work. And I think we have happened across a system that will work for most trade business owners.
I believe in working with our clients, Nick, and having coached and mentored hundreds of business owners, trade business owners over the years along with you, that some of the barriers to offloading the admin is what skill set do you need to look for in a team member? And then here in Australia, we're paying pretty solid rates for a team member, plus super, plus annual leave. We've got all the public holidays. There's so many additional costs to it. And then you've got all of the Australian labour laws with Fair Work, and they're there for a reason. But it does make it hard for small business to employ people without feeling like you're taking a huge risk. And then how is this even going to improve my business? You're paying $40-50 an hour, including all those other costs. And then you're stuck with a person. You can't get rid of them if they're no good because you've got to go through all the processes. So it's a pretty big step. And what our intention with the admin services is that it's very low risk. You just pay one simple fee. It's an hourly rate, just like you're used to getting paid by your clients. It's all inclusive, including GST, of course. And, other than the full-timers where there is a minimum commitment, of course, so that we can task our team to you, you can just grab hours as you need. So, if it works for you, great, you can scale up. And if it doesn't matter. You can just let it run out and you're good.
No risk.
So, we've really tried to make this lower risk for you. But as Nick said, go to the website, tradiesinbusiness.com.au. Our team have put together some information on there so you can find out more about it. We'll obviously be talking about this more over the coming weeks and months, but we're super excited to help you in a different way or in an additional way. So it's no longer just working with us on the coaching side. Perhaps you're not ready for that. Maybe you just want to offload some of the little things. You want to stop sweeping up and doing tip runs. Maybe you want to stop doing your own invoicing and paperwork and stuff, and you can offload that and give yourself a bit of breathing space so you can be more productive on site right now as the main tradie in your business. So jump on the website, give us a shout, and we'd love to have a chat to you and help you build your business without the bullshit.
Thanks for listening.
Hooroo.
You've been listening to the Tradies in Business podcast with Warwick Bidwell and Nicole Cox. Find out more about today's guest, tools for your trade business, and other cool stuff at tradiesinbusiness.com.au.